Hey guys, welcome into another edition of In the Booth with Earl Hall. We got a guest right back here. Why am I bringing Funny Guy Timmy back on the show? Let's talk about it. So the big question is this: how do voiceover artists like us who are looking to take our careers to the next level, but don't buy into the claim needing expensive equipment and demos, start bringing in new clients? How do you follow a clear path to changing your voiceover side hustle into your full-time job? And to those who said you couldn't. The questions, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Earl Hall, and welcome to In the Booth with Earl Hall, where we know how to grind and don't quit. All right, guys, once again, welcome in to In the Booth with Earl Hall. We've got Funny Guy Timmy back.
Hi-ho.
Back on the episode. I'm thinking that's what's that? Your honey and tea that you got there?
No, this is just water right now.
That's gin. Okay, all right, got it.
Straight vodka, just Everclear, just straight Everclear. That's how I'm rolling today.
Man,
Actually, with the client that I just had,
yeah, I know, because it was
from-
like I was about to look, we're not doing this. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I got to do something else.
I got stuff to do. I don't got to.
You know?
I can't wait for this pleb. But no, I had a big client yesterday. The biggest paying client yesterday. It was 24-hour delivery. They wanted this, they wanted me to match my voiceover to their already existing video project. And I was like, sure, no problem. And it was like 300 words to like a minute.
Oh, wow.
40 seconds. And I was like, not impossible, but I can make it work. And so I did it. It came out really good. I liked it. It matched up really well.
Awesome.
I sent it to them. And they also ordered like multiple takes. So what I normally do is I'll do all the takes. I'll send them a file that has all the takes, and then I'll edit down one that's, that syncs up with the video.
Gotcha.
And then I'll send them that. So I sent them two. So I sent them both. I'm like, yeah, it's going to be great. All right. And they're like, oh, we wanted Christopher Walken.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm like, what?
Yeah, what's that?
And they're like, we wanted you to do a voiceover for Christopher Walken. And I was like, you didn't say that anywhere.
Yeah.
Nowhere in the conversation was that mentioned. And I was like, okay, fine. So I did the whole thing, multiple takes. And I realized, and this is actually like something that I tell a lot of people, Christopher Walken's not really meant for fast talking.
Okay.
So, he talks really slow, so I can't really do. So I sent it to them. They're like, yeah, this doesn't work. And I'm like, I know. So it was kind of a back and forth. I think I sent them like 6 versions, and eventually they wanted a refund. And
and this never happens in voiceover. Usually clients are spot on and they get everything perfect. And
it's only me. It's just me. It's only me.
It's a Texas thing. It probably only happens in Texas, but what do we do about that? Look, well, people are probably wondering why I brought you back on to In the Booth with Earl Hall. And
everyone's wondering that.
Everyone. It is like it is.
Are we wasting another day's video?
It's the thing. It's like I see Mage Pro in the comments is saying, "Morning, hey Tim, good to see you again." He's the only one that said that in the comments.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. Don't doubt that.
Oh my gosh. But no, I mean, we've had conversations over the past, actually since you interviewed me. What was that, 4 weeks ago now? 3 weeks? Something like that?
It was like 3 weeks. I don't think it was that long ago.
It probably wasn't, but my life goes so fast. But we've had all of these conversations about what's going on and what's, what we can probably do together, and had some great conversations, had you in on one of my team meeting calls a couple of weeks ago to have you meet the team, because lo and behold, Tim is going to be a part of what we got going on at Earl Hall Studio. This guy is simply amazing. Now watch as his head gets bigger as I talk about him.
Just me leaning closer to the camera. That's all it is. Just me leaning closer.
When it comes to, the character stuff that you do, the impression stuff that you do, and the script writing that you do in regards to doing character demos and video game demos and things of that nature, we've had these discussions, and I just thought it made sense because of your skill set to bring you into the group. We don't have anybody currently that just has, this is all you've done. You know, this is all you've done. Whereas, you know, most of my team, we've done a plethora of things, but I like dealing with people that specialize in something. That's why I work with JC. JC specializes in audio production and putting together demos and things of that nature. So love working with him. So what is your secret to putting together, because what people are gonna find out, and some people are gonna work with you in regards to creating their own character demos and even getting coached through the read, because you're gonna be not only creating the demos for character and video game, but you're also going to, the scripts, I'm sorry, for character and video game, but you're also going to be coaching these people through a read. What's the secret sauce that Funny Guy Timmy? I need to stop calling you Funny Guy Timmy. What's the secret sauce?
That's my trademark name. It's fine.
Trademark.
You don't walk up to Eminem and only call him Marshall. Like, that's crazy.
Well, yeah, or Danny DeVito or whatever. What's the secret sauce behind you creating a script for video? What is, or character or video game? What's your thought process like for that?
Well, first of all, is going to be a display of acting, more than just a display of voices. A lot of people think like, oh, look at the different kinds of voices that I can do. That's fine. I mean, you know, your pitch, your range, the noises, the accents, those are great. Sure. But the acting is more important. There's lots of character demos out there of industry professionals that are like leading the way, who a lot of their voices sound very similar, but the acting in each one of their reads is very, very different. They're different characters. And so that's probably the main thing that most people don't understand, is that the acting needs to be different. And I come from an acting background. It's where I started. I was into acting at the age of 6. I went through like a year training, which was mostly improv, and I greatly appreciate that. And that's one of the things that I recommend to most people when they're like, what do I need to do to get into acting? What's the best, or voice acting? Sure. You know, what's the best thing? And improv, like, is the biggest help that you could ever get going into voice acting, is going to be improv. Because it makes you comfortable, makes you light on your feet, makes you get into the, whoop, it almost knocked the crap out of my $1,000 microphone. Helps you get into the mind of, you know, the character that you're portraying. Sure. And so that's mostly what I'm going to be, you know, trying to do, is get people to, we're going to create characters, together. That's going to be first and foremost. We're not going to, you know, before like coming up with lines or voices, it's going to be coming up with characters. What kind of characters, you know, do you want to portray? Where do you see yourself in a couple of years? What are your favorite kinds of roles? We'll go off that, and then, you know, we'll kind of come up with, if it's video game, we'll do like some serious, some more goofy, you know, that kind of stuff. Well, each person is going to be very different.
Let me ask you this, because, you know, how do I say this without offending? And I'm going to offend, so it doesn't matter. When people not only are looking to get into voiceover, some people have the skill, some people just don't. They don't have the skill. What is it that you think someone needs in order to even go into that character or video game realm? Because I know probably you've dealt with people that maybe say, yeah, I want a character demo, and they're reading the lines like this, and they're not putting in any emotion, or they're reading it like this, and like they're a VO. And, you know, is there something in particular that people should look for within themselves, you think, before they say, hey, I want to do this?
Yes. If you're shy when you're alone, that has to stop. You can't be all like afraid. Like, if anyone walks in and sees me doing this, I'll be so embarrassed. Never think that. I mean, most of the time voice actors are in like their pajamas, sweatpants,
underwear,
you know, if you're women, no makeup, your hair's like messed up, and you're just like flailing your arms. If it's character work, you look ridiculous.
I gotta say this. I have to say this. Literally, and my kids used to laugh at me. My wife used to laugh at me. Until I moved into this office last October, every YouTube live streaming video I did, I was in my underwear. All I had on was a shirt. Every last one. I was
Most
in my
days,
draws.
most days, I would say.
You know,
I mean, you're just seeing this much of me. I mean,
boom.
who know? I could be a fawn
Yeah.
from like here down,
Yeah.
just goat legs. You'd have no idea, no clue. Yeah, and I mean that's probably the biggest thing is getting comfortable.
By the way,
with a lot
I do have on pants. Just so everybody knows, I'm standing up. I do have on pants. All right.
I don't. I don't. Though. I don't.
Yeah, don't show your camera. Don't.
No. That's as far as. None whatsoever. You don't pay me to put on pants.
Right.
But yeah, that's going to be the first thing is getting people comfortable. And so probably the first thing that I'm going to do for the first few minutes is really just us getting to know each other.
Sure.
Me and the client and really getting comfortable acting a fool in front of each other.
Yeah.
Even like some people like even emailing or texting someone, they get nervous.
Right.
And you really got to like break through that and, get that out there. And so a lot of that's going to be like warm-ups and exercises and, just loosen up and just relax, have fun with this. Ultimately, like that's the big point. If you're having fun, if you're enjoying this, if you, then your energy is going to be higher. Your reads are going to be more, unique and the people listening to your demo are going to hear that. You hear a lot of demos where the reads are the same. They don't really sound like they're enjoying it. The characters don't sound any different, and they could have the skill, but you have no idea because they're not getting themselves out there. They're not flexing. They're not relaxing and they're not stretching.
Right.
It's like your voice, you have to do vocal warm-ups. You have to do personality warm-ups sometimes. So that's like the first big thing.
Yeah.
And then, just that, and then just getting in the mind of your character, like the first things you really got to get in there.
Absolutely. There is one of the questions that has came up in there. I think it's from Thomas. He's asking, is there a particular order or must-haves in a video game demo?
Oh. Does he mean like characters in order on the demo?
I have no freaking clue what he means.
Guessing that's what he
it's like it's like, is there an order? It's like this is what I typically like to do. Start off with a high energy, go low, go medium, and then go back up high at the end. As far as energy goes, that's just what that's what I did on my own demo that you ripped apart that I had to do over again.
Well, here's the thing is, when you're recording, they don't have to be recorded in the same order they're going to be put together on the demo.
Sure.
If it's the loudest, the one that's most difficult on your throat, you can record that one last.
And put it first.
I like to put like basically the best one first, and then basically kind of trickle them down.
Okay.
Towards the end. And the reason for that is most people that listen to the demo don't listen to the end. Most agencies, most casting directors, most managers, they will only listen to, and this is coming from the mouths of other managers and agents that have told me this.
Okay.
On average, 6 seconds before they decide whether or not they even think that you're worth working with.
6 second demos, okay.
On average. Now, some people still listen to the end, so you want to make sure that you have a good, solid, full demo. But on average, most of probably the more higher end or higher up managers or agents or agencies, they'll probably only listen to a little bit, especially if they're getting that many demos sent into them a day or that many auditions a day. So that's just on average. So definitely best one first, whatever represents you as a talent first. We'll definitely record more than will go into the demo. That's one thing that I really strongly suggest that everyone do. When you're recording, like my demos, I normally end up I think I use maybe 8 voices, 8 characters.
Okay.
But I'll probably record maybe 12 different characters in total.
Gotcha.
And then just end up deleting the ones that I think, no.
Do you have a hard, fast rule when it comes to the length? Is it 1 minute, Is there, and everybody has different opinions about this. I
Uh-huh.
think they do. I've always been of the opinion it's a 1 minute demo, but is that really the thing? Are they shorter now? Are they longer now? What do you think?
Um, well, the average professional demo is still 1 minute. And again,
Okay.
a lot of that has to do with the fact that most clients, if they're agents, they don't listen to that much.
Okay.
But you still want, excuse me, you still want enough in there that for the person who does listen to the end, they will get a better idea of your range. Now,
Gotcha.
I'd like to have a 30-second demo, a 1 minute demo, and then normally like a minute and a half, just for various different reasons.
Okay.
Um, Even if you go to like different websites or different agencies, some of them have different requirements for how long your demo should be.
Okay.
Also, you should have WAV and MP3. Don't just have one or the other.
Sure.
Because some websites and some agencies only take one or the other. I don't know why,
Yeah, I know.
but that's just
No rhyme or
how it
reason.
works. So, always have a folder that has all of your, character demos, and you got all the different versions of your character demo. And they
Okay.
can have like the same voices. It can just different lengths and different formats.
Mhm.
I don't like to have, I don't think it's good for people to get in the habit of making or producing longer than a minute.
Okay.
Because most people won't take them if they're more than a minute. So
Okay.
in that minute mark is probably, that's the Goldilocks zone. That's your sweet spot. So as of right now, it's still probably a good idea to just produce 1 minute demos.
Okay. Now, there's a couple of questions coming in the chat room here. Let's see, I think Nick's on. Yeah, Nick Denton actually just produced his own character demo a couple of days ago and put it up in the Facebook group. And I listened to it and saw how he plagiarized and copied my first spot on my demo. But no, just kidding, Nick. But the question came in, and by the way, Nick, that was really, really good shot at that. When it comes to the production of a demo, like I know in my demo spot that I produced that most of us have heard, that first spot that I did, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of action, a lot of noise, and people are wondering about the overproducing or how much noise or how much sound effects should be in there, because I
Right.
kind of covered the range of like a lot of noise to a little
Uh-huh.
noise. What's your thought process on that?
My thing is there should be at least some sound effects or music in the background, at least something. Most amateur demos are just the voices with nothing in the background, and those are boring,
Right.
and nobody cares. No agency will ever accept those, basically.
Mhm.
And one of the reasons is it literally has to sound like an actual project, like I told you before. Like it has to sound like an actual thing. It also has to complement the character read.
Right.
So if it's dramatic, it needs to sound dramatic. If it's intimidating and evil, it needs to sound intimidating and evil.
Right.
And for the most part, it really just depends on what you're going for, who this is being marketed to. Game industry, cartoon, anime. What kind of voice is this? If it's a voice that's like somewhat hard to hear, like if you were doing a character that's similar to like Herbert the Pervert from Family Guy, who has kind of a really whispery voice, you probably don't want that much as far as like music and sound effects in the background. It may drown out the voice. And, to make that voice more listenable or louder, you're going to have to like boost it up in order to cut past the sound effects and music, which may take away from it. Some voices are better quieter. They just sound better. They just, portray the character better. So it really depends. If it's like intense and really loud, like the World War II or Call of Duty one that you did, when it's like yelling, you can have, layers of music, layers of ambience, and layers of sound effects going on in the background. The point is the voice has to cut through all that.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
if you can't cut through all that, then you're using too many sound effects and too much music, and maybe it's too loud. Um, so if you have to bring those down to the point that
Hmm.
they're almost unlisten, like you can't even hear them in the background, then
Yeah.
you can basically like cut one or the other out.
Yeah, speaking about the sound effects and the voices and things of that nature, one of the great things that you told me about when I redid my demo after going through like a coaching session with you was about proximity effect,
Mhm.
EQ. It was not even in my head obviously when I did the first one, but share with us a couple of tips about that and kind of the things that you told me with the proximity effect with voice and sound effects and things of that nature.
Right. This is also another common mistake. A lot of people don't think about this, especially if they're going from commercial to cartoon or just getting into the industry. Because a lot of people
Yeah.
don't think of how a microphone actually colors your voice and how it actually sounds at different distances.
Right.
Most people do like this, and then that's how they stay,
Yeah.
and they do all their reads at that distance. But with commercial, like that's probably a good
Right.
practice. You can probably the majority of your work is going to sound really good at that distance. But as character work, you have to be at different distances for different reads.
Right.
Like for example, on my most recent demo, I have one that's like I don't remember what I call it. I think it was like a dragon or a demon voice where it's
Okay.
really really bassy and really deep and very intimidating. So I got really close to the mic and pointed it more at my chest. Since it's a shotgun
Okay.
mic, I can do that. So I pointed
Gotcha.
it more at the chest. So you're not getting as much sibilance, and you're getting most of the chest, and you get really close. And then I
Right.
bring my pitch down, and I really do the deep voice. And so I don't have to do as much EQing in order for me to get that rumbly sound, that big presence
Okay.
sound to the microphone. And then when I did, there's one read where it's supposed to be like a character screaming in the rain, like someone got kidnapped. And it's supposed to be, in my mind, I saw it as like his friend or there's like a cop or a detective or telling him, like, we can't find her. And he's like going to go off and find her himself. And so, they're telling me like, you can't do that. And he turns around and tells him. So that's how I visioned it in my head. So if I'm visioning it like a movie,
Okay.
which is the advice that I gave you, you have to envision it like a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Where are the characters in relation to the camera?
Right.
And my thing was I can pretty much, I visualized him basically from his knee to his head is all visible. So
Okay.
10, 15 feet away from the lens. So if that's the case, then basically the shotgun mic in my head has to be at that distance.
Okay.
So I got a good bit away from the shotgun mic, and for the most part, I was yelling, and it made the sound of the character sound more like he was at a distance, and that he was outside.
Gotcha.
Which, so those are two very, very different kinds of reads. Those are very different kinds of microphone placement, very different kind of sounds. And a couple of things that you want to do with that. Number one, it makes the character sound different. Number two, it makes the reads sound different, so they don't just sound the same. Number two, you're not going to be like, if I was to do the whole yelling and I'm like close to the mic, it's going to distort, it's going to peak, it's going to sound way too loud, and it's going to sound like the character's like right there on your ear, and you don't want that. So there's like a lot of things to do. Also, it makes it sound like it's a different microphone, which a lot of people want to have that sound. A lot of people in their demos want to sound like they've done lots of different projects for multiple different people in multiple different studios with multiple different microphones. That's what a lot of agents and managers are looking for. If you sound like you're all on one mic, doing one character, one type of read, one speed, nobody wants to work with that guy.
Absolutely. There was a really good question Lenny put in the chat was, in creating a character demo, is it best to not do characters that already exist, like Batman, Thor, things like that? Master Sergeant from Halo game, or should you create your own character?
Well, okay. This is actually a really, really good. I'm also going to throw in one, which is impressions into this, because it sounds, these are very similar topics. A lot of people's demos have, and my first demos had this all
Okay.
over it. I did a Wolverine. I did, Captain Jack Sparrow, and I did Christopher Walken. I did a whole bunch of impressions and characters that already existed. The problem with doing characters that already exist, unless you've actually done these characters, is you're making it sound like you've done these characters.
Okay.
And if people know that you haven't done these characters, like if it's your first demo, no one knows who you are. In your credits or in your resume, you don't have Daffy Duck anywhere.
Right.
Don't do a Daffy Duck.
Right.
Because they know who does Daffy Duck. They've probably seen all the stuff. If it's a major company or major agency or manager, they know who does Daffy Duck, and you're basically lying. Yes, a demo is lying, but you're going the extra step of lying. I would definitely keep out pre-existing characters out of it, and that includes impressions. But I would have, if you're someone who does a lot of impressions, most voice actors do impressions, and it is actually, I encourage people to learn impressions, because you're learning how to talk differently based off pre-existing speech patterns and characters that already exist. It helps you get comfortable. It's like, when you learn to paint things that already exist.
Exactly.
When you learn, to play piano, you're playing music that already exists. You're learning skills based off pre-existing talent.
Right.
So I encourage voice actors to learn impressions. But if you are going to do any impressions, save it for an impressions demo. Put all of that in there. Because very few people are going to be looking for that, and very few people are going to want that. If you put it in your character demo, you're wasting time and wasting space in your demo when you could be putting in original voices, which is what most people are going to be looking for.
Gotcha.
So leave those off to the side. However, you can have that character in mind when doing a voice.
Okay.
Like, let's say, you imagined a really tough, gruff, macho kind of guy, and you're envisioning Duke Nukem. The classic Duke Nukem.
Yeah.
You're envisioning that, and so your read is very similar to Duke Nukem, but you're not necessarily trying to sound exactly like him, and you're not necessarily saying his lines. You're not necessarily quoting him.
Okay.
That's fine. As long as the read is original. And it's not like you saying, I'm Duke Nukem, which is what a lot of people do in their character demos when they add impressions. They often include the character's name, which again is like every word that comes out of your mouth needs to be original. It can't all be the same. You're wasting time. If you went into an acting audition and all you did was, instead of reading the audition script, you just, did scenes from previous movies, you're not going to get the role.
Right.
So leave those things for another demo.
Man, this has been some amazing information here. You guys have the ability to actually work with Tim now. He's a part of our crew. And when you sign up to get your demo,
squad.
The squad. Yeah, the squad.
What the kids are saying, right? What the kids are saying?
Right.
Hey, serious.
So if you want a character demo, you want a video game demo, right now we're running a special for Easter. You guys have seen that in the chat. I've posted that. Also, you probably got an email. You've probably seen it in social media. We're taking $349 off of the price of our demos right now. When you sign up for that, you can select which one of us you want to work with. Because if you want a character, tick on Tim's name, and you're going to work with him. Yeah, pick me.
This guy. Right here.
Yeah, and we can get your best demo created. We've done a plethora of demos already this year. Still working on demos. I've got some I got to get out this week. So first of all, I want to thank Tim for being here, for being a part of Team Earl Hall Studio at this point. Kind of just overseeing what we're going to be doing with character stuff and working with you folks that really want a good character or video game demo. Just go and make sure you check out everything we got going on at stepstovoiceoversuccess.com. If you guys don't know, I do a live stream every Tuesday on Instagram. You got to follow me on Instagram. I do a live stream in my Facebook group tomorrow, every Thursday, for Steps to Voiceover Success. And obviously, I'm right here every Wednesday, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time for all of you guys right here on YouTube. All right, guys. Let's see. I don't have my broadcast software up. I haven't even started my exit music. So let me start my exit music now. But Tim,
just freestyle something.
Yeah, freestyle. Any closing thoughts you got for the audience here, Tim?
Go watch a lot of movies and video games, and don't just be lost in the scene. Really listen to how each one of those characters talks in each one of these different kinds of scenarios, and really kind of get that in your head. Helps you visualize it.
Awesome. All right, guys, you heard it from the man, Tim Banfield. That's right. Am I pronouncing your last name right? Yeah, Banfield.
Yep.
He's the man here for character and video games. You guys have an awesome and amazing Wednesday, and see you guys tomorrow in the live stream for the Facebook group at Steps to Voiceover Success. Have a great Wednesday. We'll see you later.
Peace.